Hello, everybody, and welcome to Alternative Interactions. I'm Gary. Please like, share, and subscribe. It really does help the channel grow, and I do appreciate your support. Obviously, we're still mid-advert free, mid-roll free, and all the content because of the lovely donations and support I've received from the beautiful Femi. And at the moment, we're good for a little while longer. So thank you very much for the support. And what it means is we can actually watch the videos uninterrupted without all those annoying adverts. Some of the new members might not know, but one of my walks and babbles, which was 38 minutes long, they put 10 adverts in it, which was obviously I was talking about the subjects that they didn't want to come out. And yeah, so they put 10 adverts in a 38-minute, that's mid-roll adverts, not the end ones as well. So an advert every 3 or so minutes just to stop what I was doing. So now I do it in a slightly different way, but thank you very much for support, and that's the reason why, because this YouTube or they will do whatever they can to stop her message getting out, and we know that. So thank you very much, everybody. Today it's I'm just going to do a fairly quickish one. Obviously, some of you lovely, beautiful Femi members, the new ones, are going through some of my back catalogue. And one of the comments from TW was they'd watched my Mandela Effect, one with the pendulum. And it's quite interesting, really. I've just rewatched it a little while ago, and it's like, oh, God, yeah, yeah, an early show. But the comment was quite interesting. What does it mean? What does the Mandela effect mean is fundamentally what the comment was about. You know, we're seeing all these Mandela effects, but what does it actually mean? And where are we going with this? What's the purpose, I guess, of a Mandela effect? Now, scientifically, the Mandela effect has been proven to be something that is a definite scientific fact. Um, so how can I put this? If there was 10 witnesses to a car accident, you would get 10 statements, and each statement, although the information would be similar, the story would be slightly different. There'd be different things that every single person says because everybody sees something in their own perception. We perceive individually, and so we have our own individual look at what's going on. But with the Mandela effect, there is no deviation. So I don't know, for example, an accident, 45%, 40% could say exactly the same thing. And then the other 60, 55, 60% will say a slightly different thing, the same thing outcome, but it's different. So there's that percentage difference. And I just pulled that from the top of my head because I can't remember the exact figures. But when we look at the Mandela effect, it's 100% and everybody has the same memory. And so scientifically, that's an anomaly. It's not how it works. And in actual fact, the police, if everybody went and gave 100% accurate, the same response, the police would accuse everybody of collusion, and they would be extremely suspicious because the police obviously would be dealing with slight differences in statements. So they'd know it's correct. And for everything suddenly to be correct, the only way that would have to be happening is via collusion. But there is no collusion via the Mandela effect. And it's very interesting how everybody sees or remembers the similar things, or the two different versions, but there doesn't seem to be a third version or a fourth or fifth option often. It's either one thing or another. Um, so for a very simple, one would be Star Wars, and C3PO was always silver in my day. whole, everything was silver. And now, dyslexia, sorry, so apologize. Um, Gold. And now he was always gold, wasn't he? Solid gold. C3PO was solid gold, as my child. That's because I'm thinking about what the Mandela effect is. And the Mandela effect now is he's got a silver leg at the bottom. I can't remember what side, doesn't matter because it isn't true, it isn't real. But he was always gold. Um, but we get that. But nobody else remembers it one way or the other, as in different from that two options. C3PO was either solid gold or his gold with a silver leg. Um, and I actually watched a film, the original Star Wars, and I can remember as a kid queuing up in I think 76 or 77, something like that, to go to the cinema and watch this film in the cinema, and blown away by it, as you can imagine, as a kid. And so I've been a big fan all my life, and he never ever had a silver leg, and now he does. And I watched a streamed something the other day with it on, and there was the silver leg, and it's just like, nah, no, it's completely different to my memory. Now this must mean something, I'm sure all of you guys could come up with 20 or 30 different Mandela effects on countless things. For me, the biggest one was the Monopoly man with the monocle. He had a monocle. Not going to do the eye thing. um, but he had a monocle, and obviously, if you do a search now, he never did. But when I was a kid, the Monopoly man always had a monocle with the bowler hat on. So, yeah, I mean, there's huge changes, but it must mean something. What does it mean? So the first one was a pendulum one, so this one's going to be a pendulum one as well. So this is my pendulum. It's a solid brass, weighs quite a bit actually. Weighs quite a bit. Probably a good ounce and a half, maybe 2 ounces. It's ounce and a half. Yeah, it's very heavy. So this thing doesn't swing on its own easily. You know, you if I want to swing it, I've actually got to, it's a big thing. Now, for me personally, and everybody's pendulum will be different. How we program and how we connect to our higher selves and how our higher self wants to talk to us. Remember, your higher self is you, and it's your own personal connection with your higher self via this pendulum. And again, I'm getting quite a few comments now where people are starting to use their pendulums, and I'll get questions like, "Oh, I've used the pendulum and I got this. What are your thoughts?" And it's lovely that that these are questions I'm not even thinking about, and in comments, and I'll do the pendulum very quickly, and I'll get exactly the same as the beautiful Femi comments are, and brilliant. So everybody who's got a pendulum now and is practicing, well done you, well done. You know, it's a really good way to connect to your higher self and to ask questions about what could be going on in the world. But you must remember, you can't necessarily ask questions about people or things or events that you've got no business looking at. So by that, if you fancied, say, Donald Trump, and you ask the pendulum, "Do I fancy Donald Trump?" There's no way that this pendulum is going to give you the right answer. Just isn't ever going to happen. The pendulum might please you and say yes, but you're not going to get a valid answer. Okay? Not unless Donald Trump's in front of you and he's given you permission from his higher self for you to ask the question, and then you'll get the answer. And so, unless you're Melania, I think the answer is probably no. But yeah, so the pendulum is, kind of autistic in its way, literal in its interpretation. And obviously, when I'm thinking of the question, my higher self knows already what it is. Now, something that you can do with your pendulum is you don't actually have to express the question out loud. Now I obviously am because I'm doing a show, but with the pendulum you can actually ask questions inside your mind, and your higher self is connected to you. You know, your mind and your higher self are fundamentally one almost. And so the pendulum will move and give you yes or no answers. So you can silently use your pendulum. You don't have to ask the question out loud. So that's quite a nice one where you can just ask questions about stuff that you want to. Oh, I wonder. You get the pendulum out, asking your higher self through your mind, and the pendulum will swing one way or the other, just as if you called it out. So it just shows you how connected we are to our higher self, and our higher self really does take notes of everything we do and everything we think. Good job, it's us, hey? Good job, it's our own self think, looking into ourselves and our thoughts, and it's not a third party because that could be quite embarrassing, I'm sure. But with me, with the pendulum, um, a clockwise movement, obviously I'm moving my hand now to show you, is a yes. An anti-clockwise for me is a no. And if it's going backwards and forwards like this, it's ready to work. The pendulum is showing my connection, how strong the connection is for me, and all's good. Now, if it won't answer something, it will swing this way. So this is I'm happy to work, all's good. This is I won't answer, or it's a stupid question, Gary. Okay. So my pendulum works in four different ways: a yes, a no, I'm happy to work with you, or I won't tell you. And as you get more and more confident with your pendulum, you can tell your higher self almost how you want it to work, or you can ask your higher self almost, in a nicer way. Let's be fair. How would you like to show me this? I'd like you to express this to me. And again, one of the things I also program in the pendulum for is to answer questions that it only knows. I don't want it to please me. Going back to the Donald Trump thing, it could say yes, Donald Trump fancies me, not it does, but and that would be the pendulum pleasing me, my higher self pleasing me, stroking the ego almost. But that's not what I want from my pendulum. And I have consistently, and I remind it fairly regularly, that only answer if it knows the answer. If it can't answer, don't, because I don't want to deal with maybes or what I would fancy myself. What I want to hear. It's not about what I want to hear, it's about what the Akashic records of my higher self has access to that can answer these questions. And the Akashic records is fundamentally the collective consciousness, the cloud of all knowing. So we talk about the Akashic records. Google has a cloud, and in that cloud are meant to be storages of photos and all our documents and all the stuff they spy on us with. But that cloud doesn't really exist anywhere, does it? So they say. Of course it does, it's always on the computer. But there's this cloud of information. And the Akashic Records is fundamentally like that. Our higher self sits there in the collective consciousness cloud of everything, all everything that has been, will be, and is. It has access to, and will tell us. Sometimes your higher self won't tell you because you're not meant to know certain things. Okay? So you can ask certain questions and it won't tell you because you're not meant to know at that time. And you have to respect your higher self and the fact that it's doing that. Another day, another week, it might tell you these things. Sometimes not. So hopefully I haven't lost everybody with that explanation. But it's important you kind of understand the pendulum and your connection to your higher self and how it works. Okay. So let's ask a couple of questions, about I mean, this could be very quick because if I ask the pendulum has the Mandela effect got a meaning and it says no, well, I think that's the end of the show, isn't it? But I haven't. I've never asked that. So higher self, are you? And there we go. Look, happy to work with me. And it's nearly hit me in the face. There we go. We'll go forward a bit. So yeah, my pendulum is very, very happy to work with me, and this is just a yes and no. Not a yes, no. It's just yes. It's happy to work with me. There's no issues at all. So, is the Mandela effect trying to tell us or show us something in this realm? And what we're getting is a yes. And with me, generally, and it's just done it. If it's 100% yes, it'll strike my arm. So it'll spin and strike my arm. So 100% the Mandela effect is trying to tell us or show us something. It's a good job it said that, otherwise it would have been a short show, wouldn't it? And rather boring. Um, so yeah, that's very interesting. So is the Mandela effect a timeline stroke frequency change? And that's a yes. But it's not hit my arm. So that's like a 90% incorrect, which is interesting. Because again, the angle in which my pendulum swings, if it hits my arm, it's 100%, but it didn't. It was here. So there was 10% of that swing that it hadn't done. So I was kind of on the right tracks, but not totally correct. So let's ask one at a sort of thing at a time. Is the Mandela effect indicative of a frequency change within us, the individual? And it's going to hit my arm. Feel it. Mine actually pulls. I feel the pull of it. So it's a frequency change within the person, the individual. That's what was in my mind on the question as I asked it and thought about it. And obviously that was the answer it gave. So very interesting. Does everybody see Mandela effects? No, they don't. That's very interesting. And it has just hit my arm. So not everybody sees Mandela effects. I thought everybody would. Clearly they don't. So is the Mandela effect a very nice way of our higher selves showing us that something is changing within this realm and reality? And it's going to hit my arm. So yes. So it's a very nice, soft way of our higher selves giving us the nudge to say things are changing. That's quite interesting. So that could be part of the meaning of why we see the Mandela effect. Now, let's ask that question. Is this the main reason for the Mandela effect? So that we see a change and it's a soft no. No, it's not. Well, just to show you that, we can get a yes and no. So is there more to the Mandela effect than we understand currently? And again, that's a yes, but it's only a 90% yes. It's not hitting my arm. It's not going the full way. Are we meant to understand the Mandela effect? Hit my arm. So we're meant to understand it. So there's something else that we're missing, or I'm missing certainly. And again, guys, in the comments, if you're screaming out, going, "Oh, it's so obvious! It's so obvious!" Please write, please put it down in the comments, and I will answer the comments, and I will do the pendulum on the comments. So for anybody who's looking at or thinking about what I'm doing, you know, and you can see an obvious question in the comments in this video, please look at these comments, and there might be an additional information or answers or questions that I've answered in the comments that add to this video's content. Okay, so the Mandela effect is not by accident. It's meant to do it's to do something, and obviously we're aware it's some kind of shift or an energetic change. So what is the meaning, I wonder? Because there is a meaning to it. Okay. Is part, no, is the meaning of the Mandela effect to show us that time is not as we are told? Big yes. Now, we always assume that time is linear, and what happened here in the past will be the same in the future. But that answer just showed us that it's to show us time is not correct. So, are you saying, higher self, that time is an illusional effect? It's an illusion. Hit the arm very quickly, that one. Very quickly. So time as we see it is an illusion. And the Mandela effect is a way of our higher self showing us that this is so. So was my conclusion to what I just said correct, please? Yeah, 100%. That's actually 95% because it didn't quite hit the arm where it would normally. So we're virtually on it, you know. Say 100%. So that was a 95er, but very close to it. So we are, see that brings in many aspects, doesn't it? So is the Mandela's primary role or effect to show us only this effect that time is an illusion? No. So it's going anti-clockwise. It hasn't hit my arm, so I mean it's just skimming my arm, so it's a 95% jobby. So there's more to it. So it's more than just showing us that time is an illusion. Is the Mandela effect designed to open up our minds for future possibilities that will come in the future? I hit my arm 100%. So that's interesting. So the Mandela effect is soft disclosure to what's coming in the future. Was that correct in my analysis of the answer, how I felt it? Yeah, straight away hit the arm. Now, obviously, I'm getting a little message from source. At this point in time, Will you answer if we carry on asking questions over this? So 100% no, it's just hit my arm. And I got told that. I got that like, oh, that's it. That's the end. That's the end of the show, folks. Um, my higher self has said that's enough for now. Okay. Just like I said, sometimes it'll only give us a higher self via the pendulum will only give us so much information at a time. That's quite fascinating. So the future will have, or the Mandela effect is a soft disclosure for what could be happening in the future for us, which is that's quite interesting. Very interesting. Now, not quite on the subject of the Mandela effect, but something I feel very strongly. But I'm switching my mind off onto this one. So um, can you confirm that with the question I'm about to answer, will there be any influence via my own mind on the answer? And it went straight to a no, straight to a no. Okay. Can you confirm to me that the outcome is how I have seen it and how I've spoken about it via the Operation Looking Glass video that I did, and that everything works out and we do, in fact, exit the realm and all the bits and pieces. And that's just hit my arm. Okay. Now I didn't influence that because the pendulum confirmed beforehand that I was not going to influence that. And it could when that happens. So there you go. I firmly believe that the Mandela effect has something to do with that last question about the end. The Mandela will have a role to play as this play rolls out, in fact. So, and I guess that makes sense now as to why the pendulum was not going to, I got the message from my higher self. I'm not going to push it. You have to show some respect and understanding, and obviously this video is going out and people will see. So the Mandela effect really is a designed effect. It's something that's tangible and real, and it has a purpose. And as we travel through this journey to the end, I think it will become obvious, or there'll be a eureka moment where the Mandela effect and its meaning really becomes known and understood. And again, there's no point in me asking when this could be, because just like tarot cards, the pendulum and tarot cards are the same source energy. They have no interest in our timeline. Our time is meaningless to tarot cards and the pendulum. So, although we may say, "Oh, it feels soon," or we get these feelings, it's imminent because of the energies and stuff like that. Soon could be a week, a month, a year, and in some cases, it even could be 5 years, because our perception of time is not, it's unrealistic fundamentally. So yeah, I hope that was an interesting little look into the pendulum, and that the Mandela effect really has a purpose, but we don't fully know what it is yet because my pendulum, certainly my higher self, was not happy to divulge any further, and I got that message very clearly, very clearly. It's not a cop out; it's a proper message. And as soon as I got that, it's just like there's no point in pushing it because it won't really answer, and it's not right to. And again, it's about boundaries as well, respecting the boundaries of your higher self sometimes. curious creatures as we are, we don't always need to know. Sometimes it's not important for us to know, in fact. So again, guys, if you've got any questions, or there's questions that you've raised and you've done the pendulum, please give me the answers. To let me know what you got. And anybody reading the tarot cards, tell me what you felt from the tarot cards. This is let's be a little bit interactive here. Because without you, the beautiful Femi, I don't really have a show. I'm just talking to myself in a room and a screen. But I do really like the comments. I read them. Obviously, as the comments get more and more, I'll be less likely to do such long responses at times. But I do read every single comment. I really do. So thank you, TW, for your comment. And you know, brilliant stuff, guys. We have this last part of the reading. You know, and the Operation Looking Glass. We have this. There's no worries. I do feel it. I was shown this information via my higher self in a very unique way for me, and I've spoken about it on previous shows. So if you want to find out more, you're going to have to trawl through the shows. But with that, guys, thank you very much. Really do appreciate your support, and love, light, and blessings to all. And I'll catch up with you guys very soon. Bye bye.